Good Friday morning to you. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Michelle Beck. This morning, federal employees head back to work for a second day since the longest government shutdown in history has ended. But as things get back to business, the nation is working to recover. NBC's Alice Barr explains.
As the federal government grinds back into gear after the longest ever shutdown, federal workers are getting back on the job.
Been difficult. I mean, it's a lot of uncertainty. People going to work, people not going to work, whether the government's open, whether the government's not open, whether flights are going to fly on time.
With back pay expected to roll out this weekend through early next week for furloughed and essential workers who haven't had a paycheck since,
oh God, I don't know, October, the beginning of October. I want to be able to pay my bills.
Major airlines say they're ready to ramp their schedules back up to normal once the FAA lifts a 6% flight reduction that's continued cancellations to ease staffing shortages and ensure there are enough air traffic controllers on the job. As the Homeland Security Secretary handed out $10,000 bonuses to TSA workers who kept coming to work without pay.
For stepping up, taking on extra shifts, for showing up each and every day.
Federal contractors do not get back pay.
It just piles on.
And even those who will have to dig out from the past 6 weeks.
You've had things that have gone in the rears. You may have had to borrow against your credit cards.
Millions of Americans are also waiting for their full SNAP federal food assistance benefits.
Hopefully by the end of this week, most will receive it at the very latest on Monday.
The swell in demand at food pantries, a clear illustration of a shutdown's real-world consequences, with the clock ticking until government funding runs out again at the end of January. Preventing the next shutdown depends on bipartisan negotiations over lowering health care costs. While the Council of Economic Advisors estimates this shutdown cost the U.S. economy about $50 billion a week and led to 60,000 non-federal employees losing their jobs. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, this morning, the BCA is investigating after a man is shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy during a police pursuit. This all happened in Bagley, which is about 25 miles west of Bemidji. The Clearwater County Sheriff's Office says a deputy recognized the man who had a felony warrant. When the deputy approached him, officials say there was a struggle and he took off. Deputies chased him about a quarter mile when they say he fired a, quote, flare-like projectile at them. That's when a deputy shot at him and killed him. One deputy also had a minor injury. Right now, St. Paul police are searching for a driver in a deadly hit and run. Police say a woman was hit just after 5 p.m. near St. Anthony Avenue and Aldine Street. She was taken to the hospital with a broken leg and head trauma and later died. People in the area tell police they saw a dark SUV leaving the scene. Anyone with information is asked to contact St. Paul police. There's a new major turn we're following this morning. The request for a third trial came minutes before the man convicted twice of planning the murder of Minneapolis realtor Monique Bao was set to be sentenced. Our Audrey Russo is digging into those new details.
Yeah, Monique Bao's family told our Lou Ragoose that they thought this was an unprofessional move by Lyndon Wiggins' attorney. But still, the judge decided to take the motion, and for 30 days he's going to review it. And it's a motion that essentially accuses the court of holding an unfair trial. Now, last week, Lyndon Wiggins was convicted for the second time of planning the 2019 murder of Monique Bao. Now, his first conviction in 2022 was wiped by the state Supreme Court over incorrect instructions given to the jury. This time, Wiggins' attorney claims the judge intimidated defense witnesses by overly warning them of their right not to self-incriminate, a cautionary tone she claims the state witnesses didn't get.
He wasn't given the level of warning that our witnesses were given about federal exposure, including potential capital punishment.
Now, the Hennepin County Attorney's Office released a statement shortly after this motion for another trial was filed. They said they believe Wiggins had a fair trial and fair proceedings. They also added their sympathies for Bao's family, who've been waiting 5 years for this case to come to a resolution. Back to you.
A new video this morning where you can see a truck crashed up against a tree after it crashed overnight. This was the scene at 15th and Emerson Avenues North just after 3 a.m. State Patrol tells us 2 people were inside the truck. They were taken to the hospital. And police didn't tell us how they were doing. We are waiting to hear what caused the crash. Also overnight, Ukraine's capital city of Kyiv enduring a large wave of Russian airstrikes. At least 4 people were killed and dozens others injured as the skies lit up from the incoming missiles. President Zelensky said that 430 drones and 18 missiles were used, making this attack one of the largest on the capital during the war so far. Kyiv's mayor saying the city's infrastructure sustained significant damage with residential buildings, a school, a medical facility, and an administrative building among the impacted.
Tonight, a lot of big numbers of drones, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and we have in our hometown 30 locations with huge damages. Kyiv is symbol of Kyiv, symbol of Ukraine, is the heart of the country, and that's why from beginning of the war, always Kyiv was and still target of Russian army.
This morning, some Starbucks workers are expected to strike for a second day. We're learning that today more stores could join them in solidarity. Hundreds of unionized Starbucks workers across the country began their strike yesterday. They are protesting the lack of progress in labor negotiations with the company.
We walked away from the negotiating table because Starbucks' final offer was a 2% raise, and they weren't willing to budge from that.
Starbucks says it offers the best wage and benefits package in retail, worth an average of $30 an hour. The 2 sides have not met at the bargaining table since April. This morning, as some families say they are struggling to access an occupational therapist, one new clinic says it is getting shut out by insurance companies, and that's putting families in limbo. Here's Raya Katene.
So this is our large therapy space. There will be swings from the ceiling.
The final touches are coming together at Jessica Nyberg's newly opened occupational therapy clinic for kids.
I love working with kids and families. I love being that lifeline for people.
1 month ago, Berg Therapy in Blaine opened for business. The clinic specializes in pediatric care, helping kids with cognitive and motor skills through occupational, speech, and feeding therapy.
Families are calling because they need access to care. They're on wait lists right now. And we're not talking like a 30-day wait list. We're talking 6-month wait lists, maybe a year.
But just a month after opening, some families are now also stuck on a wait list here.
In 4 weeks, we have over 30 people waiting for care.
Not because the clinic doesn't have enough openings or therapists,
but because insurance is saying no.
Denial after denial.
Yeah.
Major insurance companies say there's no need for Berg Therapy in their network because enough providers offer this care in the Twin Cities.
They are telling us that there is no need for therapists, that their markets are saturated. That's not true.
It's stressful. It's frustrating.
For 8 months, Angela Stutt's 2-year-old has been on a wait list to see a feeding therapist. She says little Ryland's weight is low for his age and he's surviving on a limited diet and supplements.
He would have had his appointment yesterday.
But her insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, denied a contract with Berg Therapy and she cannot afford paying out of pocket.
Meanwhile, he's not improving and diet is getting more limited as time goes on. I can't fix it myself. I need the professional help.
As she waits, so too does the Berg Therapy team.
The barrier is the insurance access.
Still putting together the final touches on their new space, all the while knowing it won't be truly complete until it's filled with more families. Raya Katene, KARE 11 News.
Now, Aetna and Medica are 2 of the insurance providers that have agreed to include Berg Therapy in their networks. We reached out to Blue Cross Blue Shield, Health Partners, and UCare and have not heard back. It's been 2.5 months since the deadly mass shooting at Annunciation Church in Minneapolis. And tomorrow at 4 p.m., the community is holding a fundraising event in honor of one of the children killed. The Harper Moisky fundraising event will be held at 9 Mile Brewery in Bloomington. It'll feature a raffle, games, and auction prizes from Delta Airlines, the Vikings, and Timberwolves, and much more. Organizers say all the proceeds will support the creation of a permanent memorial for Moisky and for Fletcher Merkel, the other child killed in the shooting. Meanwhile, MPD homicide detectives are helping the Merkel family. They raised money to buy the family a golden retriever puppy to comfort them during this difficult time. The puppy's name is Xander, and MPD says a company that trains therapy dogs has agreed to train Xander for free. Cross-country skiing phenom and Olympic gold medalist Jessie Diggins is back in town this week, squeezing in time in her home state before prep for the Winter Olympics ramps up. She was a guest speaker at Allianz Life, one of her local sponsors for the upcoming games, where she answered questions about her training.
From May until now, I've been training twice a day, 6 days a week. That's pretty much the routine. It is really hard. It is a lot, but again, it wouldn't be that special if it was easy. It makes it really satisfying when you know that you've had to work so hard to get to that level.
Jessie is the most decorated American cross-country skier in history, and she is looking to add more hardware. Stick with us, more news and weather coming up after the break.